Okay, hey there guys, what is up? So today we're going to talk about how to ollie on a skateboard. And first of all, you're going to want to identify where the nose and the tail of your skateboard are. Generally, the nose is bigger than the tail. You can tell just by popping it up and looking at either side. And if you're goofy, you're going to have your tail where your left foot is. If you're regular, you're going to have your tail where your right foot is. As you can see, it's generally the lower side. So let's talk about foot positioning for the ollie. You're going to want to start off putting your foot where the tail was, where you just saw me circling. And your left foot right around the center or more further back or forward, depending on how high you want your ollie to be. Generally, the further back you put your foot, the higher the ollie will be. Then you're going to want to snap your tail down, just like what you're seeing right now, and slide your foot up in almost a 75 to 90 degree angle with the board, going up to the nose and then finally leveling out at the top. As you do that, you're going to want to bring your knees all the way up to your chest, as you will see in the clip coming next. So if you're doing it in regular, you're going to want to try and do it the way I just did it. If you do it in an ollie, you're going to put your foot like that, and you're going to slide your foot up the other way. And that's basically a nose ollie. That's what an ollie means. So let's see the ollie, right? This is what you would want to do. Bend down, snap the tail all the way down, bring the board up with your feet. So as it comes up, you land nice and straight. Then what you're going to want to do is get your foot positioning right on the tip of the tail. That way you get the maximum amount of pop. So as you can see, when you jump up like that, the board will come up with you, almost in tandem with you. And when you're rolling, it's going to be a little bit different, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So now let's see that ollie one more time in slow motion. And this is really how you're going to bend down. Try and go as low as possible and jump. When you jump up, you're going to want to bring your knees up in the same motion when you bring your left leg up, so or your right leg, depending on which way you ollie. So if you're ollieing in switch, it'll look something like this. I mean, if you're ollieing in goofy, for me it's switch. So I'm using the nose of the board right now to do the switch ollie. So you can see it's basically the same foot positioning. All you need to do is just bend down with your left foot, snap it down with the left foot instead of the right, and do the exact same ollieing motion. Okay, so let's talk about foot positioning for how to get a really good high ollie, as well as how you're going to want to position your feet when you're doing this rolling. Because as you're seeing it right now, I'm doing it standing still. But in motion, it's quite different, and speed also becomes a factor. So if you want to get the most pop, put your foot right there on the tip of the tail, right there, right where I'm pointing right now. Snap it down as hard as possible to get the most pop out of the board. Do the same thing if you're doing it in switch or nollie, whichever way you want to look at it. And when you're going to be doing it in nollie, you're going to want to keep your foot slightly more on the inside. So when you're actually talking about moving on the board, going down stairs, obstacles, even a pavement, keeping your foot right on the tip of the board might not be all that comfortable. What you're going to want to do is kind of tuck it in just slightly on the inside. So that's where your foot position would be normally, and this is where you would be if you want to kind of just jump off an object without kicking your board away. Same applies for nollie. Keep it slightly more on the inside. The reason for this is because you have to compensate for the speed that the board is going to be doing. It makes it a lot easier for you. And when you land, you're going to want to land straight on the bolts. That is arguably the best way to land. It not only preserves your board, but it helps you look better as a skater. Okay, so let's just review those concepts one more time. So going through it from the beginning again, you're just going to want to figure out where you stand on the board. Once you figure out where you stand on the board, regular or goofy, then you're going to want to figure out the nose and the tail. Snap that tail down, slide the foot up. 90 to 75 degree angle. Generally it's 75 degrees. If you're doing it in nollie or switch, then you're going to have your foot in the exact same position, except this time on the nose. And that's the tip of the tail. That's how you get the much higher ollie. And here's a switch. Same basic positioning. If you want to get the higher ollie, put your foot at the edge like I showed you. Same basic concept, right foot up or left foot up, 75 degree to 95 to 90 degree angle. And landing on the bolts. Remember to try and get landing on the bolts right, because that separates a really good skateboarder from kind of a mediocre one, is where you land on the board. It shows how much skill you have in terms of board control. So when you get that pop, you're just going to want to slide up just a little bit like that, and same thing with nollie. Just like that. Yeah, that was a bit sketchy. My board kept rolling around all the time. But yeah, that's basically how to ollie. Thank you guys for watching the video. Remember to leave a like, remember to subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And yeah, more skateboarding videos coming at you. Cheers.